Hello and welcome to this episode of HBCU. I'm your host, Dee Brown, CEO. Joining me today are a set of twins. I have Erin and Ericka, who graduated from Howard University, and I have Keithan and Keegan, who graduated from Xavier. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HBCU. I'm glad to have you on the show today. So I want to start by allowing you all to do a proper introduction of yourselves. And so ladies, I'm going to start with you all first. Erin, would you introduce yourself to our guests?
Absolutely. My name is Erin Brownlee-Sulk, and I'm an entrepreneur. I have a production company that I run with my husband, Sulk Visions, and I'm also an educator.
Ericka.
Yes, my name is Ericka Brownlee-Keller. I am the head of diversity, equity, and inclusion for a biomass company.
Ladies, thank you for being on HBCU. Keegan, introduce yourself to our guests.
I am Dr. Keegan Rayford. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and I am a pharmacist. I work currently for Kroger.
Keithan.
I'm Dr. Keithan Rayford, also a pharmacist. I currently practice in long-term care.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Hey, so I want to start the show off by just asking you all, and ladies, I'm going to always kind of pivot to you all first as a gentleman. All right, I hope y'all work with me on this. All right. But tell me, how did you all choose Howard University?
So Erin, I'll go ahead and take this one first. I think, for us, when we were initially looking at schools, we had the opportunity to attend a communications internship at Howard University. I think in maybe our sophomore or maybe our junior year of college. Of high school, and we really were able to go to campus, kind of see what it was like. And as we were beginning to look at schools, we knew that we wanted to go to an HBCU, but as we started looking at schools, we realized that Howard really was the place that we wanted to be, and we felt like we could really be able to place some roots there. It's close to where we grew up in the DMV area, and so it was kind of a no-brainer for us.
Now, as twins, was it just understood that you all were going to go to the same college, or how did you come to that decision?
Yeah, I think for us, we were joined at the hip all throughout high school, all throughout our matriculation through school in general, and for us, we felt like it was important that we could go to the same school, one for the accountability partner, but also just for, that support. So we're best friends, and college is one of the best times of your life. So it just made sense for us to go to school together. Yeah,
absolutely. So, Keithan, how did you all decide to go to Xavier?
So for us, our older cousin, he's a practicing urologist in Memphis now, but he actually was living in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Everybody kind of knew at that time that we were looking to go to med school. And at the time, and still today, Xavier is, top in the nation of placing African Americans into med schools. So it's kind of, this is where y'all need to go. We checked it out. We went on a tour, and from there it was history. It was the only school we applied to, and we knew we were going to go to Xavier.
Keegan, so was it always understood for you all as well that you would attend the same college?
Oh, yes.
No,
everybody knows we do everything together from birth to now.
Got you. I guess that's the beauty of being twins. Right? So ladies, I want to pivot back to you and ask you about the day that you set foot on the campus of Howard University. And I want to hear from each of you from your different perspectives. What was that day like that you set foot on campus that first day?
Yeah, I remember we had a pinning ceremony, and I remember being on campus, being on the yard, and just looking all around and just feeling this immense sense of pride, but also just being wowed by the fact that there were so many Black faces there from so many different places in the United States, but even all over the world. And I've been able to curate, we've both been able to curate great friendships and relationships with people even to this day. And I remember I actually was on campus just yesterday speaking with a group of students, and that feeling is still there, that feeling of amazement, that feeling that this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It's still there.
Yeah. And I would just like to add on to what Ericka is saying. A similar feeling when I stepped on campus, I felt like I was stepping into something way bigger than myself, right? It almost felt ancestral, right? You think about all of the people that came before you and made this possible for you to be on this campus. And it just felt like a huge honor to be there. And so again, I said this before, it was one of the best times of my life. And I knew that as soon as I stepped foot on that campus that, that it would be a key point and key memory in my life.
What about you guys? The day that you set foot on the campus of Xavier University, what was it like?
So the first day I stepped foot on campus was a Friday. So Fridays are the best days of the week,
Yeah.
So it was, you walk on and you just kind of get great vibes. You get positive vibes. All of us were kind of moving in that day, but campus was still moving. There were summer classes going on. So you saw all of the students that were already there, just out on the yard, hanging out, relaxing, having fun. And then you have all of us moving in. Everybody's just so excited. Everybody's supportive. Everybody's feeling like, yeah, we're here and we're finally about to do it. So it was just great vibes from everybody.
What about for you, Keegan? What do you remember most from that day?
So, I mean, I was nervous. So we went to college pretty young. We started college at 15.
Oh,
so,
wow, really?
Yeah, so it was a
How old are y'all
nervousness.
now, 17?
We just made 28.
Really? Okay.
Yes, sir. So yeah, it was a feeling of nervousness. We haven't been, away from our parents, but I do have him here with me to support me. On our first day, we actually ran into his best friend's brother. Ended up coming to the school, and he was like, "What are y'all doing here? Y'all dropping y'all sister off?"
Right.
So eventually got to a feeling of comfortability that day as we saw more people that we did know from Memphis. But yeah, I definitely remember that nervousness first walking on the campus.
But hold on,
sure.
y'all holding back on me because I recall you telling me that your senior year in high school, you only had one class, so y'all just took homeschool and just.
Right.
But you didn't tell me you was 14. I think that's like a little, I think that's a critical piece of information.
I got you.
Okay, but we're going to come back to that one. So, ladies, I want to ask you this, and Erin, I'll start with you. What is it about Howard University that set it apart from all other HBCUs?
Yeah, so similar to the gentleman, Howard was the only school that we applied to. And, for me specifically, I think, as I stated before, it felt very ancestral. And learning about the history of Howard, learning about some of the alumni that went to Howard, like your Toni Morrisons, all the way to your P. Diddy's, right?
Right.
It just felt like an honor to be able to join that lineage. And also I think that Howard is, it's one of those schools wherever you go in the world, there's going to be someone from Howard in the room, right? And
Even
that
today.
was something that I recognized very early on. I really can literally go anywhere in the world. I'm a huge traveler, and everywhere I have gone, I have seen someone with Howard paraphernalia on, right? Yeah. So the network is huge. It's just like a huge family. So that was certainly attractive to me.
Erin, what about you? What's unique about Howard?
So I think for me, I was very much so interested in the academics. I think Howard definitely allowed me to really think about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And what I realized is that I wanted to do the work of being able to help other people get to and through college. And so I was able to do that through my work when I was at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. But even within that, just being on that campus, it is electrifying, and realizing that there are so many different types of Black people, that there's a diaspora there right in front of you. You're able to learn so much and learn so many different things from so many different cultures. I think that was very attractive to me. And I think that as I began to matriculate through school, one of the things I realized is that going to a HBCU, and especially Howard, you realize that because race in this case is ubiquitous, you're able to focus on different more salient aspects of your identity. And so I was able to, focus on, my womanhood. I joined a sorority. I did all the things that I felt like I really wanted to do. And then also being in DC, I was very, I would say, strategic in wanting to be in an area that was well connected. I could easily go to New York or even have an internship in DC, which I did with the State Department. And so it really just made sense. And finally, I would say, I remember I was in my senior year of high school, and I remember just thinking to myself, I don't want to go somewhere where I'm tolerated. I want to go somewhere where I'm celebrated. And that was really important to me. And so I realized that Howard really was going to be that place for me. And it literally has been one of the best decisions in my life. It's paid dividends.
Keegan, what about you? From your perspective, what is it about Xavier that make it different from all other HBCUs? So
I would say it's the connection between students and the faculty and staff. So Xavier is a smaller HBCU. When I was there, it was only about 3,000 students. So it gives you a chance to really build lifelong relationships with your teachers and administration. Every wedding I've been to since I've graduated, for sure. If it's a Xavier wedding, you're gonna see some Xavier professors, some Xavier administration, because those people put that type of energy into the students. Yeah. For me, in particular, Dr. Moorhead, she put a lot into me and my brother. I can 100% say I would not be where I am, without her, because she took that extra time, whether it was resume building or practicing for interviews, things of that nature. You get a lot of different opportunities with faculty and staff at Xavier because it is a smaller HBCU. All right, Keithan, what about you?
So I would agree with that. In addition, I would say, like, academically, I feel like Xavier prepares you to really be prepared to go into any field. Mm-hmm. So you're already prepared academically, but in addition, that extra oomph from the faculty and staff being so close, it opens up extra doors, because you're not asking for a recommendation letter, right? This isn't somebody just writing something down. Right. They know you. You get what I'm saying? So it opens up doors when you're able to build those bonds and relationships. Right. They have a vested interest in your success. Exactly.
Ladies, I wanted to ask you a question that Keegan actually touched on here briefly. When we talk about HBCUs, we know that one of the things that everybody talk about is that community and the connectivity between staff and students and faculty, etc. Are there any influential people in your lives from your time at Howard University? And Erin, I'll start with you.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a list, and I'm sure Ericka has a list as well. One person that comes to mind is Ms. Yannick Lamb. She's a professor at Howard University. She's still at Howard University, and she's been committed to the students at Howard University for as long as I can remember. She was, the person who brought us on campus as high school students to be part of the communications program. Multiple times I visited her office, just for verbal support, right? And she's been there to just support us as we matriculate through university. I think about Dr. J, Dr. Johnson, and remember just being a struggling college student and her recognizing that and taking Ericka and I out to eat and giving us $20, right? And saying, this for you this week, right? Almost like an auntie or an extension of a mother would, right? Her taking that time to build up our confidence about, our life beyond Howard University and what grad school would look like for us, right? And letting us know that we're more than capable of achieving everything that we want beyond Howard University. And so, I mean, those are just two examples that, pop into mind, but so many professors and so many teachers have poured into us. And so I would mirror what Keegan and Keithan were saying. It's definitely a tight-knit community at a HBCU.
Ericka, what about from your perspective?
I I think in addition to that, I think about my relationships just with just people on campus, right? So I think about, Aaron will probably remember him, Mr. Cook, who worked in the registrar's office. And I mean, I don't know if Keithan and Keegan, I'm sorry, can relate, but the process of being validated back when we were in school, it was a whole process.
Right.
And so I remember Mr. Cook, he would always be like, listen, you all need to be validated by this date, but I'm gonna try to extend it for you, right? So that we could be able to figure out how we're gonna pay. I also remember Miss Myrick, who ended up giving both me and my sister scholarships, and just making sure that we were able to continue our matriculation through Howard. I think those moments just really make me so happy to have gone to a school where I really felt loved and cared for, and I always try to give that back to students as much as possible.
So, Keegan, I'm going to pivot to you, and I want to know, at Xavier University, what is the signature event that everyone look forward to at Xavier?
Well, so now it's homecoming.
Yeah.
The homecoming is huge now, especially our homecoming tailgate.
Yeah.
That's the biggest event at Xavier now. During school, I would probably say like our Spring Fest week was the biggest. We had you have the concerts, and we normally had good people. During our time, I know we had J. Cole, Wale, I think Kendrick Lamar. You got some big timers. So,
Yeah.
But now it's definitely the homecoming.
Erin, what do you remember most about Howard? What was the event that everyone looked forward to?
You know what? At all HBCUs, it's going to be the homecoming. I'm going to mirror what Keithan and Keegan are saying. It's the homecoming. And, I'm going to go ahead and throw props to Keegan and Keegan, because those Southern homecomings, they hit a little bit different, okay? Love those Southern homecomings. But of course, it's Howard, so you have people flocking from all over the place. You have your Drakes on campus, and you have Jay-Z coming on campus and giving a secret concert behind the dorms,
Right.
And so, it is just a great time that's buzzing on campus. You really never know who's going to show their face during homecoming time. And this is the time where celebrities will often just walk amongst the crowd, like you'll be sitting at, a restaurant, and in comes, I don't know, in comes Drake, like ordering next to you. And you're just like, what is going on? So it's a fun place to be. And it's where all the memories happen,
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ericka, tell me about your current career, and how did Howard help prepare you for where you are today?
That is such a loaded question. So, I would say that as I look back over my career, currently I serve as the inaugural head of diversity, equity, and inclusion for a biomass company. And so what I can say is that again, that connectedness and that the concept of iron sharpening iron, I think that definitely came from my experience at Howard. I think that being able to, just be able to talk to people who have just a very keen mindset just about just the issues that may be going on in various industries, I think always is so helpful. I think in addition to that, I pledged Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated at Howard within Alpha Chapter, and the network that I've been able to have from that experience, I mean, just pours so much into me. And if I have a question about something, I can call one of my profiles who might also be a chief diversity officer and say, hey, I'm having this issue. How, what are the best practices in order to maneuver through this, right? Or, if I have a question about HR, I can call another one of my profiles and be able to ask those questions. In addition, I think Howard also teaches you to be very resourceful, not just with your network, but also being very, very clear about presenting well, presenting who you are well, because we do, and I think this is indicative of most HBCUs, if not all, that we are representing our universities, our schools, but we're also representing our cultures, right? And what we want to do is make sure that we are able to put our best foot forward and be able to represent our foremothers and forefathers before us in a way that really speaks to, you know, how far we've come. And so I think Howard does a great job of being able to mold talent. And, you know, I remember, you know, while I was at my previous employer with Thurgood Marshall College Fund, that was one of the things we always talked about, how Howard students are so sharp, because there is a process that I think every student at Howard has to go through that really just helps to mold that and bring that out of students. And you're able to see that anytime that you come in contact with a Howard University graduate.
Right. And so, Erin, did you pledge as well?
I did pledge Delta as well, but not at Howard University. So my sister is my soror, and it's a beautiful sisterhood.
Absolutely. Well, the three on this panel are proud members of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And, and that leads me into my next question. Talk to me a little bit about Greek life at Xavier. What is it like?
So I would say it's not as big as, you know, I mean, some of like your Howards, your FAMUs, you know, it's a smaller school. I think the Greek community at Xavier is very close-knit. I mean, many of my closest friends are members of Alpha at Xavier or pledge Delta at Xavier. You know, many of us pledge at the same time. Yeah. So you're kind of going through the same experiences, so the community is going to be very close-knit. I think the Greek community is probably what provides the most fun at Xavier, in my opinion.
Right. So, as it relates to Howard University, if a young person was watching the show right now and they were considering Howard University, Erin, tell me why they should consider Howard.
Oh, this is a great question, because I actually just gave a tour to a group of young students, and, you know, this is something that we kind of walked through. I would say Howard University is, and this is no shade to Keegan and Keithan, but I would say that Howard University is a leader amongst HBCUs. I think that we are trailblazers in many ways. I think that the spotlight is on us and has always been on us. And, you know, with that is great responsibility, but also, you know, we've talked previously about the connectivity that comes along with that, right? The resources that comes along with that. And so often when you are a part of the Howard University family, you're not only representing yourself, but you're often representing, you know, many and all HBCUs, right? Because again, we're in so many different rooms and we're serving in so many different capacities. So our family is large. And, you know, really, if you're attending an HBCU, you know, you're part of a larger family, right? But there are always those schools that are the first. And so I would say Howard University is one of those schools that are looked at as being the first, or the trailblazer in so many different capacities. So that's exciting to be a part of, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Keegan, what about Xavier? Why should someone consider attending Xavier University?
The biggest things would be, well, for one, Xavier is smaller. So the ratio from student to teacher right now is 14:1. So you have a chance to really get to know your teachers. Your teachers are able to put in special time with you, whether it's with your courses, personally, or, you know, like you said, some professors even help financially. Also, Xavier has over 50 different majors just in the arts and science department. We have a PA school, a pharmacy school, up-and-coming medical school, a great business program. It's just so many different options at Xavier. So if you want to go to the best school, then get the best academic
Shade intended. Yeah. Shade intended.
I definitely suggest that you follow in our footsteps and go to Xavier.
Okay, all right, I got it.
I felt the shade.
Yeah. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate having you on the show today. We're out of time, but I thank you so much. I enjoyed having you on the show, the Twins edition. And to my guests, thank you for watching this episode of HBCU. And remember, without you, there's no me.